What's up, y'all? One Piece One Life here, and guys, as you can see, I'm not in the usual setup. And there's nothing even really to be said about this setup, considering, don't really have my posters with me right now. But you know what? The content is what's more important, and that's why I'm still here. Where did we leave off? Oh yeah, Scopper Gabon going absolutely insane. We're about to see what the left hand of the Pirate King can really do when he's actually trying. And y'all, can he get crazy? We're not going to waste any more time, guys. This is going to be One Piece chapter 1149 review. But before we get into it, y'all know what to do. Like the video, subscribe to the channel for more One Piece content just like this every week, and share it around with all your friends who love this series. You know we always say here, let's get it going. Oh, and make sure you subscribe to me and my boys over at CSY. We did it. We finally dropped our 5K cipher, and guys, my rap goes hard. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. So we don't actually get a continuation of the cover story. Instead, we have a nice little color spread of what looks to be a cafe. Luffy, Usopp, Zoro, Sanji, and Chopper are the customers, while you have Lilith, Nami, Vivi, and Bonnie as the maids. Yeah, I don't know about this one. I understand that the maid cafe culture is a whole Japanese thing, but And it's also just funny how Frankie, Brook, and Jinbei aren't even in it. The chapter is titled 1 Second, and that's going to make sense very soon. But essentially, we're picking up right where we left off, with the rest of the Straw Hats shocked to see Scopper Gabon pull up out of nowhere, having completely sliced off Summers' arm. Immediately, first panel, look at this and tell me that this isn't Conqueror's Haki. But regardless, you have Summers just screaming on the ground like, oh my goodness, it hurts so bad, while Usopp's just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Who are you and why did that work? And then you have Gabon literally pulling a Garp when he arrived on Hachinosu after Galaxy Impact. I'm rusty. I'm not in shape no more. As we're about to see, that's not going to matter. Gabon twirls his axes and goes to strike at Summers again. Summers uses Briar Barrier and creates essentially a shield of thorns around him. And again, as the axes strike, you have that huge lightning and the electricity, the bzz bzz onomatopoeia. So as Summers is trying to hold him back, he's just like, Mountain Eater, why are you even in Elbaf? What's going on? Gabon's just like, nothing wrong with the serious talk, huh? And then they keep going blow for blow. Summers is trying to match up to him with his kind of thorn bat, but it's not working. Basically, as they're fighting, that's when Nami reveals to the rest of the crew that she had actually met him with Luffy and Zoro in the castle. Keep in mind, she says, oh yeah, Luffy and Zoro were totally overwhelmed by him. Now listen, I'm not a power scaling guy. However, one might take that and say that Gabon, as people were saying, was actually pushing Luffy and Zoro to their limits. And then we have further gas, because Robin says, if I didn't mishear, I believe that's Scopper Gabon. And Jinbei says, Scopper Gabon? You mean the left hand of the Pirate King, who's equal to Silver's Rayleigh? And again, I'm not a power scaling guy, but equal to Rayleigh, one might take that and say that that has some sort of implication for Zoro and Sanji down the line. So you have Chopper, who is for some reason still in Saul's beard, and he's just like, wait, that worked? He can actually touch him? How? Robin is trying to help the rest of the crew out using her powers, but Jinbei's like, whoa, wait. You know that his thorns are actually bad for your close hand-to-hand combat style. Let Gabon handle it. Which is interesting because Jinbei fans, what's going on? Now, because I could have sworn that, y'all were saying that Jinbei is above Sanji. So why isn't Jinbei doing anything? And this is why I'ma always keep with the attitude that Jinbei's a bum, because this is embarrassing. And then we have perhaps the craziest panel that I've seen in a while. Summers uses Thorn Rush, creates huge tendrils that overbear at Gabon, but he's not holding back because he double layers that with Hell of the Crimson Lotus, creating spiked briars that are erupting from the ground. You see, this is where Gabon says that I don't have any time to waste here. He dashes at him, uses Futen Raku, and y'all, Gabon slices this man's torso in half. It's not even decapitation, because that would be just the head. It's detorsification. I don't even know if that's a word, but Gabon just made it up. I don't think you understand. I was dumbfounded when I first read this. I knew Gabon was gonna go crazy, but he killed him. Okay, maybe not killed, because as we see at the end of the chapter, even with his body kind of literally split apart, he's still saying ouch. So there's something there where he's still alive. But he essentially one-shot Summers. And then as he's coming down, the thorns that are still there, he literally just somersaults with his blade and carves a path through them. Keep in mind, this was the distraction because he's trying to head off to where Colin is. So Gabon, who I would say was not even really trying that hard, essentially one-shot one of the Holy Knights. And then right before the scene starts to transition, we see Chopper in his walk point actually rushing to try and follow Gabon, with Chopper, of all people, saying, wait, this is vital information. If he knows how to hurt them, then I need to talk to him and figure out so that I can tell everybody else. Now we're getting Chopper writing? Oda, you may be the GOAT. Because of all Straw Hats to not have focus on, there was nothing for Chopper. Now we're getting Chopper development in terms of coming into his own, being his own character, and actually, growing up as the youngest of the crew. Oh, this is phenomenal. But we're not done yet, because next up we cut to the Walrus School and we see that everything is burning. You have Drampa just there like, well done, you did do it. There's another little section that's gone on burn and he's like, you know what? I understand that you did as much as you could. Don't worry, I'll handle this one. Like, he is kind of being like, now everything's burning, okay, cool. But guys, I really still believe Drampa's not a bad guy. I really do think that he's just like Kizaru, a cog in the machine. You got Robin, you got Saul who's still down, you got the Chief Elder Ja Rule. Everybody's just sad about the fact that the history that they worked so hard to preserve literally going up in flames. Anyway, Killingham calls the rest of the God's Knights and is like, oh, by the way, ignition is complete, so we can dip out. Gunko's like, all right, cool. Child, you don't have to jump off anymore. Come back. And you have Rania, the girl who was about to be thrown off. She's just crying. She's like, guys, I'm sorry for being alive. If not for me, nothing would have burned. I'm so sorry. And y'all, this is crazy. A kid saying, I'm sorry that I'm alive for history. You know the last person to say something like that? Nico Robin. It's just like, because so much of it is reminding me of Robin's story, and then the fact that now Robin as an adult is here and is like kind of connecting. It's crazy threads that Oda is writing right now. And then you have Gabon pulling up to where Gunko is, finally reaching the kids, and he's just like, the culture, the history, the kids, even the military force, you don't have a right to any of it. Gunko just sees him and is like, oh, the Pirate King's crew's here? Well, if you resist, these kids gotta die, right? So the kids are all like, Yasan, it's Yasan. Hey, Colin, look, Yasan. And in his mind, Gabon is just like, please, Colin, please don't say it. Don't say that I'm your dad, not in this situation. But of course, Colin's just a kid, so what else is he gonna do besides screaming, Dad, you're here. He's gonna save us, cause my dad is super strong. Big mistake. Gabon is literally about to try and slice Gunko, but Gunko, having heard what she just heard, dashes over to Colin and is like trying to use him as a hostage now. Colin's like, what the? Get off me. And she's like, oh, off you? Okay, that's what I was gonna do anyway. Gabon is just getting ready. He's literally like, Colin, all you have to do, endure it for 1 second. I promise after that, everything will be okay. I'll be here. And Colin's just like, don't worry, Dad, I'm a warrior, so I'll do whatever I need to. Rayleigh starts having flashbacks to when Colin was born, and we actually see that him and Ripley, like, it's not just something that they were doing casually. Like, Gabon cares about his family, which, might I just say, in a series like One Piece where the fathers usually don't actually care about their kids, this is so great to see. Gunko starts to pierce his flesh as Gabon is on his way there, but then it happens. Gabon uses his future sight, and what he sees is his son's throat being pierced from side to side, killing him. Pause. And after he sees that, Gabon's just like, stop. I give up. Just don't hurt my son, please. And Gabon is just like, I'm sorry, Elbaf, but if it means protecting my son and not protecting Elbaf, that's what it has to be. And then Gunko's just like, what a weak being, and shoots him with one of the arrows. Gabon is riddled full of arrows and just starts falling off of the branch, way deep down. Colin's just like, Dad, no! And even Chopper's like, oh dear, what's going on now? That was another great section, but we're still not done. Because as Colin is calling for his dad, he's like, Dad, please no. That is triggering a memory in Gunko, a memory of her kind of saying the same thing where she's saying, Father, no. Then we get a flashback of a little kid who we can only assume is Gunko because of, the fact that it's her memory, with a tall man with an afro who says, yo ho ho ho, it was always my dream to be a pirate. And then we cut back to the Straw Hats where the rest of them are trying to get Brook untied, because remember, Brook was hog-tied even worse than the rest of them. Gunko remembers Brook because she says, Brook, is that you? I'm coming. Y'all, how does Brook know Gunko? And my very first thought was, Brook is Gunko's dad? And then I had to chill out because I was like, okay, wait. Brook, I don't think Brook was Gunko's dad. I don't think Brook had like a wife, had a child. I don't think it was like that. Because here's the thing. We don't know that much about Brook before he became a pirate. But we do know that he was kind of like the leader of a battle convoy of a royal guard of a kingdom. And so what I'm currently thinking is Gunko was the princess of this kingdom, and Brook, being kind of like essentially a royal guard, a retainer, was close to her, kind of like on the same wavelength of like a Vivi and Pell vibes. And it's like, Oda, are you really about to give a second Brook backstory? Because I'm not gonna lie, if he does that, this is gonna solidify Elbaf as my second favorite arc of all time. Above Marineford, above Whole Cake, above Egghead. And then we're still not done, because the craziest part arguably happens in the last scene. As Gunko is running towards Brook, and she's like, oh, I need to see if he's okay. Suddenly, a screech is heard, and a complete shift in Gunko's demeanor occurs. And we just hear a voice, disembodied, saying, what is with all of this commotion? The Holy Land is currently in flames. That seems to require additional military force. Mu will show thee the domination of God. This is a code red, code apocalypse, whatever you want to call it. Imu, the final villain of One Piece, has just made landfall on Elbaf. A vestige of him is taking over Gunko's body. Because we just see Gunko, her hair was elongated, and then it's her body, but it has Mu's eyes. And y'all, this is, I don't even know how to process what I'm seeing. Why is Imu here? Oda, this is brilliant. It's really smart when you think about it, because it's the fact that he's gonna be able to show us a bit, give us a teaser of what Imu can do without Imu actually having to like show up in full force and be there. He'll get to flex powers, and you know, when you're trying to build up a final endgame villain, that's important. But because of the way that it's occurring, where it's taking over Gunko's body and stuff, there's also ways for it to be beaten so that they're not just completely decimated here on Elbaf. And y'all, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, after the mural chapter, this may be my favorite chapter that's come out this year so far. This is absolutely spectacular. And again, I'm loving Elbaf. And this is why I say, like, this is just phenomenal storytelling. Oda, he's a master at his craft, because he knows when to give us and drop different kinds of information, when to show hype scenes, when to show emotional scenes. And I can't wait to see next week's chapter, because there's not even a break. But y'all, what did you guys think about this chapter? Was it as absolutely crazy as I found it? And what was your favorite part about it? Make sure you let me know all that and more in the comments below. Now that is the end of the video, y'all, but before we go, like it, subscribe, and share it around with all your friends who love the series. Remember what I always say, I'm trying to build a community, but I need your help to do it. Well, that's gonna be all from me. I'll catch you on the next one, and always remember, One Piece, one life.